Here's the ugliest truth about money. Nobody wants to say it out loud. Your salary isn't your safety net. It's a highly engineered comfort zone, a perfectly calculated drip feed, designed to keep your brain docile, to keep you showing up on Monday, without ever actually getting ahead. It is the illusion of progress, while you are actually standing completely still. Think about how it feels. That deposit hits your account every 2 weeks. Your brain releases a massive dopamine hit. It feels like victory. It feels like survival. But psychologically, it's a trap. We're hardwired to crave certainty. Our ancestors just wanted to survive the winter. They wanted guaranteed food and shelter. Today, that survival instinct works against you. You trade your time for a predictable number. And the moment that money clears, you exhale. You relax. You stop looking for exits. That's the real cost of a paycheck. It buys your complacency. It numbs your financial ambition. I'm a 35-year-old guy. I've worked the corporate grind. I chased the next promotion. I thought the next bump in pay would finally be the one that freed me. It never did, because the system thrives on lifestyle creep. When you make more, you naturally spend more. You upgrade your car. You buy the nicer coffee. You move to the better zip code. And suddenly, that bigger paycheck feels exactly like the old one. You're just running faster on the same wheel. Your brain tricks you into feeling wealthy, while your bank account barely stays afloat. Let's talk about why we let this happen, and why your mind prefers being comfortably broke. Let's look under the hood of your mind. Behavioral psychology has a term for this. It's called loss aversion. Simply put, the pain of losing $1 hurts twice as much as finding one. This fear runs the entire show. It dictates how you manage your career, and exactly how you handle your cash. When you have a steady, predictable job, the fear of losing that security is paralyzing. Even if the job makes you miserable, even if it barely pays the bills, your brain clings to the known devil, because the unknown is simply terrifying. So you stay put. You accept the tiny annual raises. You let inflation silently steal your purchasing power, because doing something different, taking a real, calculated risk, feels like a massive threat to your survival. But here's the absolute wild part. To cope with this quiet financial anxiety, we turn directly to emotional spending. You had a brutal week at the office. Your boss was breathing down your neck. You feel exhausted and completely undervalued. So what happens on Friday night? You order the expensive takeout. You buy that gadget you don't need. You tell yourself, I deserve this. I worked incredibly hard for this money. That isn't a rational financial decision. That's just an emotional band-aid. You're buying a temporary feeling of control, a quick hit of joy to offset the grind. But it keeps you completely, utterly broke. The system relies on this exact cycle. Work hard, feel stressed, spend to feel better. Rinse and repeat for 40 long years. It's a brilliant psychological cage, and we eagerly lock the door ourselves. Let me tell you about my buddy Mark. Mark is a genuinely smart guy. He pulls in a low six-figure salary. On paper, he's doing really great, living the classic American dream. But behind closed doors, he's practically drowning. I sat down with him a few months ago. We were having a beer on his back porch. He looked completely and utterly exhausted. He confessed he had zero actual savings. Every single month, his account hit zero. Sometimes it even dipped into the negative. I asked him where it all went. He couldn't even give me a straight answer. It wasn't luxury vacations or flashy sports cars. It was 1,000 tiny emotional purchases. A trendy subscription box here. A pricey round of drinks there. Upgrading his phone every single year. He was making genuinely great money, but his ego was spending it much faster. He felt this deep psychological need to project a flawless image of success, to keep up with his wealthy coworkers, to show the world his salary mattered. But his net worth was entirely fake. He was terrified of looking like he was struggling, so he spent everything just to hide the truth. The fear of judgment drove every single swipe. He was stuck in a high-stakes cycle trap, working harder to pay for the illusion of wealth. This is what the paycheck mentality does to us. It separates our income from our actual net worth. We confuse what we earn with what we keep, and our fragile ego won't let us scale back, because scaling back feels too much like failing, even if it's the only way to win. So how do we break this mental loop? How do we stop self-sabotaging? It starts with a brutal reality check. You have to separate your self-worth from your salary. Your paycheck is just a temporary tool. It's a shovel, not the actual treasure. Once I realized this, everything shifted. I stopped viewing my salary as weekend spending money. I started viewing it as buying my future freedom. Every dollar I saved wasn't a painful sacrifice. It was a tiny piece of my life reclaimed. It was a solid buffer against the nightly anxiety. I had to completely train my brain to find joy in the quiet safety of a growing safety net, instead of the quick thrill of an Amazon package. It requires completely rewiring your daily dopamine triggers. You have to learn to love the boring reality, the peaceful reality of living well below your means. Now, before we go any further down this road, I need to make something very, very clear. I'm just a regular guy sharing my own experiences. This video is strictly for educational purposes. This is absolutely not professional financial advice. Always do your own research. But human psychology, that applies to all of us. When you stop letting your ego drive your wallet, you finally take the power back from the system. You stop trying to impress people you don't even like. You stop buying things to numb the weekly grind. You start playing the quiet, long game. You realize that true, lasting financial peace isn't about the shiny car parked in the driveway. It's about the quiet confidence inside your own mind, knowing you're no longer trapped by the endless cycle. Breaking out of the salary trap isn't easy. Your brain will fight you every single step. It'll beg for the warm comfort of old habits. Your friends might think you're acting a little strange. They might wonder why you stopped going out, why you're suddenly brown bagging your lunch every day. Let them wonder. They're still running on the exact same hamster wheel. They're still confusing monthly income with actual generational wealth. You're building a solid foundation they simply cannot see. You're curing the underlying psychology of being perpetually broke. It takes time to fully detox from the consumer mindset, to stop viewing a small raise as a shopping spree. But the exact moment the mental fog finally lifts, the moment you realize you don't need the useless stuff, that's when the real, lasting wealth finally begins. It's a quiet, deeply internal shift. You stop being a passive passenger in your financial life. You firmly grab the steering wheel, and you finally look at the damn map. I want you to think about this tomorrow morning, when you sit down at your corporate desk, or when you check your current bank account balance. Are you working just to fund an emotional coping habit? Or are you actively working to buy your permanent freedom? The choice is entirely yours to make. If this hit home for you today, if you're sick and tired of the psychological trap, do me a huge, personal favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a quick like on the video, and leave a comment down below. Tell me the biggest financial lie you once believed. I read every single one of them. It really helps the channel grow, and it tells me you want more videos exactly like this. I'll see you in the next one. Stay smart out there.